Here.
Good.
Can you check one check my? No. We're gonna pull you back.
Testing.
Yeah. Testing. Testing.
You're welcome.
Testing. Testing.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
I mean, that's fine. Too much.
That does seem low.
Testing. Testing Montari.
I'm trying to send that.
Testing.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing.
Testing.
Something.
There's somebody.
There's always gotta be one. Testing. 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 Test. Test.
Test.
Test. Test.
Test.
Test. Test. Test. Test. Test. Video.
We'll move the camera.
Oh, nobody knows time. Yeah, you might.
Well, Linda just sit there beside her, hold you. Yeah, we just put them on. Then we would need to use. If they don't know that all, they're not having any, like, issues, like. Right. Daytime personnel. You know, she can spend a holiday. It's a bonus.
Hello, sir.
Mr. Harris, how are you?
I'm great.
Good.
You come from outside?
Yes.
Warm out there, boy.
It is. So it's gonna cool off, so you know.
Stifling. I mean, almost.
Yeah, I didn't have to walk very far.
Mhm.
No.
Well, pretty good, sir. How about yourself? Okay, sir. So.
Yeah, man. Join it.
I just saw, oh, you said, join me with.
Yeah.
Show you.
Hopefully they get better though. It will
Yeah.
get better.
Good, you look so.
Hey, me too, babe. All things at church. You know who's handling this when it's not?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what they go.
yeah, that's the vision there, that the ignorance. So I'm learning how to speak the positive.
Yeah, we're doing the same thing. Church is not easy. No, no. We're a generation that just doesn't know. So important. Man, we used to build cities around church. No. Something that's what CC and everybody left.
Yeah.
That is amazing. Yeah. Every day. Yeah. Make sure it's okay.
You have to dress it right.
The haircut's down. I mean, I think.
It's just.
Well, we got a slide agenda.
The empty one.
Well, no, it's into.
It's bad no matter where, but.
No.
Yeah, that's.
No.
I want to say dog. So, is there not a way to do it? Okay, but I'm gonna bring it up. This one.
Oh, I'm making it.
Look at the blonde. Now that I think about it, I don't think blonde people's name.
It was cool though.
Joe
Where do I see it? Hey, how are you?
How are you? Glad I brought my shawl.
That's all right.
How are you?
That's all right.
Yeah, it's chilly in here, but I'm not.
Very
Appreciate it.
What do you-
Your friend. Wow, thank you. Oh, no, you did.
How long did you cross it then?
It probably went on another. He just, like, he was,
Got time to go.
down in terms.
I bet you do.
Well, tried to fluster and she did fine.
Well, good for her. Yeah, I've seen probably.
Also.
It's a charade. Yeah, it really is. It really did.
I think he's. put on show.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was. I just gave it like, I think off the day, all about some of like.
And.
Was I- You don't have to be there. It's like, I appreciate
Can I join you?
Hopefully not, hopefully not. I'm waiting to see what gets out of my husband's in court until they can stay. He's not in jail, he's a loss.
And I said, well, let me get back to this list. He's like, you're gonna be somebody.
I'm not ready. When I say that, they think I'm one of the house. I'm not.
Right. That's great.
And he's put a gas. So that's why I have to ready to bring it.
And by that's how we negotiate. I don't know.
I mean, it must make sense. Hopefully that was all.
Yeah.
I took a shower today. I hope I'm not like gassing you out.
No, you're fine.
We've been loading because my daughter leaves tomorrow for college.
Oh, yeah.
So we've been doing a lot of packing.
All right. Hello, everyone. It's good and welcome to our Louisville Metro Housing Authority Board meeting. Today is August the 19th, 2025. We're going to go ahead with our agenda for today. May we have a roll call, please, Vicky?
Ms. Harris,
Here?
Ms. Beck, Ms. Crane,
Here.
Mr. Harris,
Here.
Ms. Kemper,
Here.
Ms. Peels. Present. Mr. Fusatore
Here.
and Mr. Rippey.
All right, do we have quorum?
Yes, we do.
All right, we have quorum on today. Let's move on to our announcements. Do we have any announcements on today? If not, we'll move forward with our public comment period. Elizabeth?
Sure. Hey, everybody. We have 4 people signed up to speak today. As always, if you want to sign up to speak, you need to do that by 10:30 on the morning of the board meeting. You're also always welcome to submit written comments, which we will pass along to the board. So we'll start with going in order that I have on my list here. Everyone has 3 minutes. If you need an additional minute as a reasonable accommodation, that will be granted to you. First up, we have Bridget Darby. Is Bridget Darby present? Okay. Next up, we have Stacy Harris.
Hello, my name is Stacy Harris. I'm also a realtor with New R Realty. I have a nonprofit, United Community Resource Foundation. And I am here, I wanted to thank Jonathan Coulter. I don't see him. I'll pass that on to the end. But I have an investor that just had to step out briefly. And I wanted to make sure that you are aware that we actually exist in the community so that we could possibly work together. My request today is actually for a meeting with you guys one-on-one. The investor that I have, I was hoping he would be here to speak, but he is able to build property as high as $30 million. And so as like Dosker Manor comes down, or if any other properties come down, we are able to build the properties that's needed, not just for Louisville Metro Housing Authority, but I know you guys service other nonprofits as well. And so I want to have an appointment with you, if possible, to let you know that we have the capability of building. We are currently building duplexes. We have a homeless to home ownership program so that we can stop using these funds to keep our people in the same cycle of having to find property in a year or so. And so we want to offer a home ownership program through not just you, but other nonprofits as well. And Mr. Noah, he is the builder and investor. And if you guys have ever heard of bigger pockets, we have deeper pockets. And so where if you're not able to get funding from HUD or whatever, you can actually do a master lease, and he will literally do the build out as of what you need or any other nonprofits would need. I know I'm short on time, so the last thing that I'll say is Jonathan Coulter has literally helped me save investors from walking away from Section 8. As of right now, I've housed 1,616 individuals in our community, and I'm looking to get to 2,000 by the end of the year. And I would love to be a partner. We would love to be a partner with you and other nonprofits to make that happen if funding is not available. As well as I have properties with no app fee and no deposit. So Section 8 individuals, they can't go to Urban League right now or other various organizations to get that deposit. We have property, no app fee, no deposit. And that's it.
Great. Thank you so much. And we have your contact information, Ms. Harris, so we'll
Yeah.
follow up with you on that.
My phone number, oh, you're saying you have
I
it.
think we have it. If you want to state your phone number for
Yes,
the public.
everybody has my phone number. My phone number is 270-401-3064, 270-401-3064. Stacy Harris.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Daisy Johnson.
My name is on the list also. My name is, this is Daisy Johnson, and my name is Sharon Smith.
Okay,
And I'm a relative of hers, and I'm speaking because she's told up.
okay.
And the reason for her problem is, for the past 6 months, she's been paying her rent on time without knowing that she did not have a Section 8 voucher anymore because it was sent through an email for her to do, which she never knew to open an email to get mail because she's always done it on paper. She's always brought, it was paper and never email. And she didn't know what to do. So we came up, how she found out is because she still never heard from Section 8 because of email,
Mhm.
but she found out from her landlord that she was behind getting rent. And she was like, she couldn't be because she paid her rent on time. And they said, no, you don't have Section 8. And when we came up here to find out why or how, that's where we found out that she was supposed to go online. And she's been scammed a few times online, so we don't open up emails. If it had said Louisville Metro Housing Authority, we would have known. But it comes up HCV, which we don't know exactly what that means. So we didn't click on it. But now she said she's terminated. And when we came up here, they said, and we called and we did everything to try to get an appeal and things, and they said there's nothing that we could do. And I just want to know that it's not fair for seniors or some people who are on Section 8 who have disabilities and can't do what Section 8 is requiring without even knowing that that's what they're supposed to do, because we never got information for her to check an email.
So I'm gonna ask, can I ask you, Tracy, to connect with them right now? Okay, so if you guys want to stay for the rest of the meeting, that's totally fine, or Tracy can speak with you and anybody else on the, we have several members of the Section 8 team. You're welcome to go out in the lobby right there, or there was a breakout room or downstairs into our meeting rooms, but we'll go ahead and connect with you right now on that. Are you okay to do that, Tracy? Thank you. Okay. Thank you all so much for letting us know. Okay. That concludes our list of public speakers.
All right, thank you so very much. I do want to tell the board, thank you all for my flowers. When you all, I guess, heard about the surgery that I had on my eye, I do want to thank you all for just being just kind people and remembering me. So I did receive them, and I'm excited about that. So thank you so much. We're going to move on in our agenda today. Do you have the committee reports? Do we have any committee reports today? All right, let's move on to our approval of our minutes. May I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
All right, may I have a second?
Second.
All right, it's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Thank you so very much. Let's move on to our resolutions for today. 5A, the approval of memorandum of understanding with LDG Multifamily LLC. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Right, may I have a second?
Second.
All right, ready for discussion.
Good afternoon. I'm Pam Bischoff, Director of Strategic Initiatives. I'm here to present you with the second resolution that you all have heard this year to enter into a memorandum of understanding with a co-developer partner. So this memorandum of understanding is to enter into an MOU with LDG Multifamily for redevelopment of the Dosker Manor and First Link sites. So as you know, LMHA issued a request for qualifications back in May of last year to identify qualified development partners for multiple of our affordable housing redevelopment projects at our legacy sites. LDG Multifamily was selected as the development partner for the Dosker and First Link redevelopments, contingent, of course, upon execution of a master development agreement. LMHA and the developer have negotiated a memorandum of understanding outlining the principal terms and mutual commitments for the redevelopment of 2 phases of affordable housing on LMHA land. Phase 1, which is the first link site, consists of 1.44 acres. And the phase 2 parcel is the site of Dosker Manor, which is 5.26 acres. The MOU will establish the key terms, including ownership structure, ground lease provisions, developer fee and asset management fee splits, cash flow distribution waterfall, Section 3 and MBE, WBE, DBE participation goals, as well as the right to return of former, that should be Dosker residents. In the MOU also affirms LMHA's oversight and approval rights throughout the development process. So I'm just going to go through and summarize some of those terms, which are outlined in the statement of facts. These are the key provisions of the MOU. The redevelopment, I think we've already gone over this, will be 2 phases according to the acreage that we just described. As far as the ownership structure, each phase will be developed by a single purpose entity formed by the developer, who we would also call the owner. The developer or its affiliate will act as managing member. LMHA's affiliate will serve as an administrative or special limited partner with specific rights over governance. We would enter into a ground lease with the owner. LMHA will retain fee simple title and enter into the long-term ground lease, which will be up to 99 years with each owner. The lease payments will be based on 90% of the appraised land value, structured as a capitalized payment at closing is one option, or as annual payments from available cash flow according to the cash flow waterfall, or a hybrid approach. The developer fee. The total developer fee will be split 65% to the developer and 35% to LMHA's affiliate. Payments will be made pari passu, so at each milestone closing, and then each milestone thereafter, those payments would be split in that way. The cash flow waterfall, after the payment of operating expenses, reserves, and deferred fees, any remaining cash flow will be split 75% to the developer and 25% to LMHA's affiliate. The developer will make commercially reasonable efforts to meet LMHA's goals of 25% MBE, 10% WBE, and 0.5% DBE participation. Section 3 compliance, however, is mandatory where applicable, and I will note that because we would be giving PBB awards to this property, they would be applicable. Right of return for former Dosker residents. The MOU does include provisions for reoccupancy and return policies, ensuring former residents have priority access to new units, also subject to eligibility and fair housing. LMHA will have oversight and approval rights. Under all circumstances, LMHA will review and comment rights, have review and comment rights over all design milestones. If the proposed design exceeds KHC's cost containment limits, LMHA shall have additional approval rights to ensure the design is consistent with community needs, LMHA standards, and financial feasibility. We will have oversight through regular status reports regarding construction, and we will have the right to provide input or other assistance or services as reasonably related to that. LMHA will also have the right to review all financing applications and any material terms associated with any financing. We will also review and provide input on the selection of the property management firm and retain the right to require replacement of the property manager in cases of breach, noncompliance, or underperformance, subject to cure provisions. LMHA will continue to be consulted on decisions materially affecting scope, schedule, financing, or operations. Final authority in those areas may rest with the developer or project owner. However, LMHA's input will be documented and considered. And lastly, community engagement and updates. LMHA will participate in community engagement efforts and receive regular project updates, including status reports, occupancy reports, and construction progress meetings. And those community engagement activities have already begun. So we have had two resident and community design meetings on the First Link site. And so those will continue throughout the project development. So the MOU is that binding framework, including these key terms and conditions that will be used to develop and will be superseded by a master development agreement, which will define all of the final roles, responsibilities, and obligations of the parties. The MOU can be terminated only under conditions of mutual written agreement, any type of material breach by either party following a 30-day cure period, or written notice if the developments are not awarded tax credits. Upon termination, neither party would have any further obligations under the MOU. So as part of this resolution, LMHA staff does recommend approval of the MOU as this necessary step towards finalizing the master development agreement. So if you do approve the entering into the memorandum of understanding with LDG, we also ask that you approve to authorize Elizabeth to sign the MOU and to negotiate and execute a master development agreement and ground lease consistent with these terms with LDG Development. And I'm happy to take any questions or my team.
Is there any way to strengthen the language as it relates to the minority involved? LMHA goals of 25 reasonable efforts to meet.
I don't know legally if we can strengthen that beyond what's in there. What we're trying to balance is ensuring that folks are trying to meet those goals, which remain very important to us. Times have changed in terms of what HUD prefers or allows in terms of these kinds of commitments. So we're trying to balance our commitment to the community that we serve and to continue serving the community in that way with what is allowable. Shan, does that pass muster with you?
I think that was well said in this current climate that we are operating in.
So I turned to Shan because she's leading the effort at the city, the Equity and Procurement Task Force. So she is really on the front line of kind of analyzing changes from executive orders that are coming down.
Changes due to what?
So January 21st, President Trump issued an executive order related
the DEI?
On DEI.
Yes.
And there have been subsequent executive orders and our memos from the Attorney General's office instructing various federal institutions how we should operate within allowing federal funding, grants for state and city governments that have diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, or in our case, the diversity, equity, inclusion ordinances. So I think we're trying to strike a very careful balance of adhering to federal law while also adhering to the requirements of our state and local ordinances and our own goals and values.
We have in the past with Beecher Terrace, and we can continue tracking participation and reporting that as part of it. We would, of course, also be tracking any Section 3 requirements and those participations and how we would be stacking up against the goals of the agency. And as well as offer our assistance in terms of any requests for proposals that might be put out.
Did that satisfy?
I hear you.
I think that answered your question. I don't know if it's satisfying.
I'm not crazy about the answer.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Fair.
All right. And probably it's, in relation to everything else that's going on. I see the balance. And I just hope the LMHA is involved in making it reasonable.
Yes.
Any other questions?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you so much for everyone. Do you have any other comments, questions, or concerns? All right, we're ready for the vote. All those in favor of Resolution 5A, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstain? Resolution 5A is now approved. Resolution 5.
Oh, sorry. This is, thank you all. And I want to thank the team. This, reads like a very serious board resolution with a lot of details, but what this means is this is an enormous milestone in our redevelopment efforts at Dosker and First Link. So since we've all started here, I was given a mandate from you all, from the mayor, from HUD, from the residents of Dosker Manor to fix that situation.
Yeah.
And the team has done an incredible job putting together a really thoughtful and very successful relocation program. And our team has also been running a mile a minute to get these development terms together. We have, as we've discussed before, we have bonds lined up from KHC. We have your all's permission to help build new housing at Iroquois Home Site. We have your permission to build new housing with LDG at First Link and Dosker Manor. And this is an enormous milestone. So thank you all for your support and your tough questions all along the way. And a huge thank you to Pam and Brent for all of your hard work and tough negotiations on this. Thank you. This is a very good deal for our residents, for LMHA, and for the city of Louisville.
And my questions acknowledge that fact.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, moving on to resolution 5B.
You were just ready to move right on.
Well, I was.
It's all important.
But I'm just excited. I'm excited about it too, when I read it at home.
Oh, that's old news to you.
I was really excited. All right, let's move on. Authorization for the renewal of elevator maintenance and service contract. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
All right, ready for discussion.
Good afternoon. My name is John McGuire. I'm the Assistant Director of Maintenance for Louisville Metro Housing. We would like to seek an authorization to renew our maintenance contract with Oracle. They currently hold a state contract master agreement number. We've like to seek the amount to not to exceed 300,000. During this current contract year, just passed, we spent roughly 238,000. They received an above average score on their overall rating. Seeking authorization to renew the contract.
All right, does anyone
Have you
have
any questions? Yes, sir.
Yeah, I do. What was the contract last year?
What was the contract for last year?
No, it was, they're proposing 61.2. Right?
Oh, well, okay, so the quote annually $61,200 is for roughly like required inspections.
What was their contract last year?
What we spent on the contract last year?
What was their base annual contract for the same exact services? Is it the same?
It was not to exceed 300,000. Yes.
No. Didn't answer
He's
that.
asking if their proposal was higher. Did they propose an increase in their rates this year?
They did not. Not to my knowledge.
So it was 61.2. If you went back a year, it'd have been the same amount of money.
Correct.
And the regular hour and the overtime hour,
Correct.
that'd be the same too.
Correct.
Okay. I don't know that I add a lot of expertise to the board except on this kind of stuff. And so I feel like I don't have enough information to base it. So they asked for a contract at 61.2, but you spend 238 last year.
Correct. Yes.
Okay, so are there cameras in all the buildings?
Yes.
Does somebody check when they walk in and they say they're working? Do you go back to the cameras and do you look and see if there's actually people there for the times that they eventually submit bills for?
I know the majority, well, virtually all of the bills are virtually per request. We have issued inspection forms. So we reach out to Oracle, they come in, they perform the inspections, they give us the certificates that we provide to the state. so that we can be in compliance with all of our state required inspections with all our elevators. And then in addition to that, these are majority of service runs for instances of floods or damage to our elevator equipment. So yes, virtually everything is,
I
yes.
understand. They say that they're gonna service everything for 61.2. In a perfect world, that's all you pay.
Yes,
But you're gonna pay 230, you're paying 238 this year. So
last year, yeah, I did.
okay, so there's triple the amount of money being spent for service runs, right?
Oh, yes, yes.
Okay, so my question is, when those bills come in, who's checking them? How are they checking them? How do we
Okay,
know
yeah.
that they're right?
For sure,
So
yes.
the way I just asked was, if there's cameras in the building,
Yes,
is somebody looking at the film and saying, yes, they showed up at the hour that they have on their bill, and yes, they left at the time that they're stopping their bill. And I don't know that you have to do every one, but
Yeah.
you gotta do some,
well,
or they will take it. Now, the reason I'm asking is because I know some people and they're telling me how they can game the system. And so I'm thinking, so how do we stop them from doing it? You have to, and so if it was my money, I would be looking at the cameras.
yes.
We have cameras at our house. People say they were there at this time and they left at this time, but they don't know that we have cameras. So I can pull it up and say, no, you get my house at 8 o'clock, you pulled in at 8:20. And you weren't there till 5, you left at 4:30. I mean,
For sure.
and this would be a lot of work for somebody to be doing it.
Oh, yes,
But
yes.
it also represents a lot of money. Because I would be going crazy if I contracted with somebody for 61,000. At the end of the year, I had paid them 238.
John, isn't it the case that in an event of a service run, especially in our high rises with our elderly, that's considered an emergency situation? And the on-site maintenance supervisor would be doing this observance that you're discussing doing on the cameras after the fact in the moment? Wouldn't that be the case most of the time for the,
Oh, yes.
you know, this huge gap between
Yeah,
the
there's
61 and the 238?
There's an on-site representative, and more often than not, who's requesting the service call when someone's trapped in an elevator, and we need to call Oracle to come get this person out of the elevator. Or if there's a flood in our high rise and it destroys 2 elevators and the 18-story building has no elevator service at all, that was where those bills come in, where we pay $30,000-$40,000 to Oracle to
Okay,
get
so-
2 elevators repaired for
I know
our
that
buildings,
kind
you
of
know,
stuff
so it's,
happens.
yeah,
I just want to know.
That's kind of a one-off.
That the authority is getting their money.
yeah, for
So
sure. for sure.
the person in the building submit something and say, I requested this emergency service.
Yes,
The people, you can't say yes, I've done it. Did they arrive at
Sure.
8:30?
I got you.
And then they leave at 4 and they left at 4. And then somebody's sitting on that, waiting for the bill to come in. And there were 3 people. And they're waiting for the bill to come in to say, okay, this is what the person on the site said happened. We see if we're getting billed for the same amount.
Yeah, so there's typically gonna be email and phone communication. We treat the elevator outage as a emergency situation, right? So there's gonna be, especially through email, that electronic copy. And then when we pay our bills on the back end, we have various approval letters and reconciliation. Oh, this is, everybody wants to hear this. Okay, so basically after we spend certain amounts of money, which elevator repair meets all these various thresholds, it's gonna come up and then through John Supervisor Greg, our Director of Maintenance, has a threshold. And then if it gets above there, I have a threshold. And when I reconcile the bill, if I will go back and ask for those communications, make sure that they were there doing that work, make sure we're not getting, a bogus bill. But because it's an emergency situation with the elevators typically, I can see what you're describing for routine maintenance would be extremely valuable. Checking the cameras, making sure where you actually working this time you were saying there. But because our maintenance supervisors are literally standing there prioritizing this work, where we have a level of comfort, that that work's being performed in the amount of time. And then that reconciliation process you just described is akin to what we actually do. It may not be as uniform as what you described with a formal write-up of arrived at 8:15, left at 3:15. But there is a lot of communication there, and I'm confident that in the sense of elevators, where we do have this big gap between the estimated annual cost and then the actual cost due to emergency runs, that we are not having those loopholes that whoever you spoke to described.
So Elizabeth talked about, the last month it was the trees.
Yeah.
Okay, I am just really skeptical that there is not money to be saved by having and maybe I'll be surprised by having a formal way that you're spot checking all these workers using cameras just to make sure, because from what I understand, the Bob Ray Company and Oracle Elevator can get a copy of this through the Open Records Act. They will now know that Elizabeth is authorized to spend $300,000 this year and can flat out run up the bill to get close to that amount, and there'll be no scrutiny or nothing, because it's gonna fall underneath the amount that has been approved.
I treat a not to exceed much different than an approval to expend that same amount of funds. A not to exceed operates as a cost control measure, but it also prevents us from, in the need, especially if something like an elevator, to wait till the next board meeting to come back to bump that up. In fact, I've talked to my team quite a bit about a not to exceed amount not being an approval to spend that much money necessarily. It is just that, a buffer.
Not for us, but get on the other side, and they can see that this money has been approved without another board meeting. And they can operate underneath that number without.
Right,
Until it gets approved.
So I
next
think,
August.
so I think last month we talked about doing this, but I think maybe you went out of town and then you went out of town. But this month, let's commit to sitting down, because we were just having a conversation, Mr. Pusateri, about looking at each of our contracts across the board and seeing what we can and should scale back on and where we can save money. And I think that a conversation with you, the maintenance team, and our finance team about how can we audit, how can we spot check. I don't know what we could do because of open records and our procurement policies and our board approval thresholds, to make ourselves more competitive in terms of, like, we have to have something in here that's publicly available to everybody. But I think what you're talking about in terms of having a protocol for auditing, whether it's elevators, tree trimming, or all of our contracts. So if you'd be willing to do that, I think it'd be helpful.
I'm just saying, of 100% of the contracts, if you think that every single company and every single worker for those companies are all honest and they're all correctly and accurately reporting their time, then you're living in fantasy land. Okay.
Yeah, we don't want to do that. So I would love to be a part of the meeting that Elizabeth just described, lean on your expertise, history in the field. And yeah, I mean, these are great recommendations. Oracle itself, the specific board resolution you are about to vote on now, I personally tracked down the state contract, ensured the competitive process, read through what they did, made sure I was comfortable with the similar scope of services. That's why I signed off on the resolution, the procurement of it, which goes back to prior to the renewal. But again, yeah, happy to meet to discuss this more. And it sounds like you have, a lot of valuable information as to how to audit the work that we're being billed for.
Yeah, and it seemed like on some things in the past, they've shown a historical number that has been spent in preceding years that we could look at and say, yeah, that looks reasonable because the last 3 or 4 years we spent similar amount, something like that.
Yeah, and we can certainly flesh out our detail in future board resolutions. I'm not sure how many renewals this particular one has had, but yeah.
Yeah, it's not Oracle Elevator, Holdco, or Bob Ray Company. It's the whole universe of how these are being done and how people can take advantage of the authority. And so how can, knowing that I'm being told from the other side how they can do it, how can we combat it?
Absolutely, I'm with you. Where we share that same goal for sure.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, I'm sorry that was left out. Should be the initial and first year have been exercised. This will be the second 1-year renewal.
Well, thank you. If we don't have any other questions or comments on this, we'll go ahead with the vote. Now, let me tell you what we're voting on so that everybody understands. We are voting on the agreement, okay? The contract renewal for the elevator maintenance service contract, okay? Now, the $61,200 is if it was just a perfect world and we only service the elevators, right? The threshold that we are agreeing to vote on, which is the $300,000, that's the full threshold of what we're saying, no matter what happens, we're gonna try to meet, we're not gonna go exceed that $300,000, okay? So this is what we're voting on today. All right, all those in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstain? All right, resolution 5B is now approved. Moving on to resolution 5C. Approval of intergovernmental agreement between Louisville Metro Housing Authority, LMHA, and the Department of Codes and Regulations for inspection services. May I have a motion, please?
So move.
May I have a second?
Second.
All right, ready for discussion.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Camille Robinson. I'm the Deputy Executive Director of our Lease Housing Program. This resolution is for the annual renewal of the intergovernmental agreement with codes and regulations concerning our HQS, which is our Housing Choice Voucher Program inspections. We are looking to renew the IGA for a $795,000 contract not to exceed. Just so you all know, we did rework our scope of work with this contract, and we have decreased the amount in previous years from 1.6 million to this $907,000. Any questions regarding this resolution?
Everyone seems to be all.
So they come in and then they inspect all the,
Section 8 units, yes.
okay. Do they give a bid to inspect them? Do they have, hourly rate? How do they do it?
So now this agreement was actually sculpted probably 22 years ago between the Housing Authority and the city government. This is not I don't believe this contract was ever out for bid. It's renewed annually. It's built into the city contracts, I guess their budgeting system with codes and regulations. So we've just continued to renew this contract. In the years, it's been inflated quite significantly. So what we've done this year is kind of re-evaluated the scope of work, basically put parameters around the scope of work, updated the information because we've moved to biennial inspections. So there were some things that we needed to do to kind of incorporate our technologies to expedite our inspections. And so what we've decided was that $1.6 million for this contract was excessive in our opinion. And so we talked with codes and regulations and negotiated a better deal that met the scope of work. And we are going to continue to look at other options moving forward to decrease this number if we can.
My only question is, do we have inspectors that go out as well, or is Louisville Metro government doing all of the inspections?
So we have internal inspectors, but they're not deployed for our HCV program. Typically because it's the largest program that we have and it's all over the city, we don't have the capacity internally at this time. Not to say that it can't be built out in the future, but as of right now, we don't have that capacity.
We do have an internal inspection team that inspects our public housing units
Yes.
and generates work orders and flags, emergency fixes. So we have folks in-house that do our public housing portfolio, which is much smaller than our Section 8 portfolio.
And also to just to have it added to that, we've also built in our work, our scope of work with them, that our internal inspectors will be doing quality control inspections of the city.
Will any of this change when Inspire takes over?
No. Inspire is effective October 1st. All of the city inspectors as of right now have been already trained on Inspire and ready to go.
All right, are there any other questions or comments? All right, ready for the vote. All in favor of resolution 5C, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstain? All right, resolution 5C is now approved. Thank you so much. All right, let's move on. Do we have any committee reports today? All right, now we're going to move forward. If there's no committee reports, we're going to move forward to our executive director for her discussion points.
Great, thank you. I do want to say good job to Camille and her team for saving the authority $700,000 on this annual contract.
Yes.
And John, I don't want to leave you out. Good job on the elevator contracts also. Hopefully we need them less this coming year. Okay, so I'm going to keep it hopefully somewhat brief today. I want to talk about some internal operational reorganization that LMHA is going through, as well as just walk you through some recent community engagement events, because I think that gives you a good idea of what we're working on. So as you know, when I started, we made some immediate structural changes and made some immediate hires to make sure we had the internal capacity to meet our mandate. This is the current LMHA departmental breakdown. We have 4 cabinets. Executive is led by me, and as you can see, I have really a lot of direct reports. We have the operations cabinet, which is currently maintenance, capital improvement, security, property management, and resident relocation. We have the finance cabinet, which handles budget accounting and payroll, and we have the Section 8 Housing Choice Voucher Department. So everything else that's a support function and many other things are currently in the executive cabinet. So as you know, we are working with a consultant group to help get some outside assistance in auditing and making recommendations for our internal operations. We contracted with them to look specifically at our public housing team, which they have done, but they are working on their final report, which I'll hopefully be able to walk you all through in September. But we didn't want to wait for that final report because they've kind of given us recommendations along the way. And they have pointed out some things that I think we knew, but this is kind of a little bit of a kick in the pants to kind of continue to make changes that we know that we need to make in order to better serve our residents and to have a more manageable agency overall. So the next slide shows the new departmental breakdown. The executive cabinet, I'll keep the executive secretary. Sorry, Vicki, you're not rid of me. Executive administration, which includes office services and our call center. So currently the call center was set up just to handle Section 8 calls, but we are one agency. So the call center will be, they're currently working to get trained, and so everybody can kind of answer all things. So there's one number to call, whether you're a public housing resident or a Section 8 voucher holder. Typically, residents tend to call their property management office, but we do get calls here to headquarters. So the call center will be redeployed for the whole agency. Public relations will stay with me, policy and analytics, and strategic initiatives, as well as, so strategic initiatives handles our development, our planning, our site repositioning. We have the LMHA Development Corporation, which is currently under the finance cabinet. So that's moving under me as well. And we will continue to keep you updated as we make plans to build out that development corporation to truly be a strong development arm for LMHA. So under the finance cabinet, we've added capacity and financial compliance. We just had someone start with us this week. She joined us from HUD. She's going to help us ensure that we are staying on top of our financial compliance mandates. We will build out additional contract tracking capacity in our finance cabinet to ensure that we're looking closely at where all of our money is going and how much we're spending on the contracts. Because it's hard to save money when you're not keeping track of every penny. So we want to make sure that we're doing that in a centralized place. I think that is happening now, but in a more dispersed way. And we're also adding HR to the finance cabinet to be, on the same team as payroll. Under operations, we're keeping a lot of like internal support functions. So we're talking about IT, compliance, procurement, facilities to include maintenance and capital improvements, adding more legal capacity, and our security. So all of that's going to stay in the operations cabinet. And this is probably one of the biggest shifts. And I think that this is, putting us in the category of being innovative in terms of a housing authority. Many housing authorities are structured the way that we have been up until right now, which is that we have public housing over here and we have Section 8 over here. I think that LMHA's departments are even kind of more separated because pre-merger, the Housing Authority of Louisville had the bulk of our public housing units, and the Housing Authority of Jefferson County had the Section 8 vouchers. So it was, we were never in the same building. It was kind of like we're running two agencies. We're one agency. There's really little difference between the folks that we're serving in public housing and in the voucher program. Much is the same in terms of eligibility. And as we transition a lot of our portfolio from Section 9 public housing to Section 8, it will be increasingly merged. So we are actually moving property management and special programs, which is our social work, social supports team, to be together with the Section 8 department. So we kind of have the executive department and the finance department are kind of more nuts and bolts day to day in terms of like how those are shifting. But the separation of operations as the kind of internal stuff to keep the trains running, and then the people under the programs department, I think is a really innovative approach. That said, we obviously still have things that we need to think through and logistics that we need to work through to finalize this. And, as we learn more, as things change, we will be open to additional change. But I did want to let you all know. And then I just talked through that's me up there. Just talked through all of these changes. So we'll make sure you remember who the folks are leading it. We have Michael Bianco is our new Deputy Executive Director for Finance. We have Camille, who we're still working on the title. Is that you? Yeah. The title, Deputy Executive Director of Programs or something like that will be her title moving forward. And Eric will keep his title of Deputy Executive Director of Operations. And what we mean by operations is just shifting a little bit. Any questions on that? Yes.
Separation of duties with procurement being under operations.
That's a good question. Compliance is going there as well. So we have talked before about does the procurement function make most sense in compliance or in finance? And I think there's arguments to be made each way. And I think you all are on both sides of that fence here, if I'm remembering that conversation accurately. But I mean, I'm open to more thoughts, but I think it makes the most sense. And you want to manage to the functions and the accountability structure, not the people. But I will say that Eric, as our DED for operations, has done so much work in the agency to really delve into our procurement policy and to ensure that things are more uniform across the board. But we will watch for that. Yeah. Good point.
I understand in the strictest sense, I don't need a microphone. The people putting out the creators of the solicitation will have a separate arm reviewing said solicitation and then how the process works. Good question.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Okay. So now I'm going to walk through just the community engagements that we've done so you all kind of know what we're prioritizing. So Pam mentioned the First Link design sessions. We've done a ton of community and resident engagement leading up to where we are currently with Dosker Manor and First Link. And we had our second design session a couple weeks ago. We got a lot of great feedback. And I was very impressed with the number of community partners that showed up to kind of weigh in. And that just tells you how pivotal that location is to the city of Louisville and how important this effort is. We recently had a meeting with residents of Shepherd Square to prepare them for the transition in property management. So you'll remember we're contracting with Winterwood to take over property management of Shepherd Square. We now estimate that that will take place October 1st. And we want to make sure that residents know what's happening, that they understand what will change, what will not change, that their rights and responsibilities as residents remain the same. We continue to own the property. So we just want to make sure that we're being transparent with that information. We also had a resident engagement event at Will C Plaza. So we did this in partnership with the resident council. They did a great job of putting things together. And it was just an opportunity. It's important for leadership to obviously go see the sites and talk to residents, but it was just another opportunity to kind of hear what they're dealing with, what their questions are, and to connect with them. We've had a number of Dosker residents relocate to Wilsey Plaza, and it seems like they're all doing great. We don't talk a lot about 550 apartments, but those are 77 family units located just behind the Blanton House, which is across the street from Avenue Plaza. So we did a community engagement event there with the children and the families, just to kind of, again, like meet people, make sure we're, have ears to the ground in terms of what's happening on the site. And so that was a great opportunity to connect with residents there. We had a great field day at Parkway Place. I'll also mention that the field day at Parkway Place, AKA Park Hill, was super fun, but it was also an opportunity to get some business done. So we did the soft launch of our year-long planning process for the future of Parkway Place. In the following week, we did surveys with residents, and we had over 200 residents participate in those surveys. And those were pretty intensive surveys. They were administered by LMHA staff. They were pretty involved in terms of, we're trying to find out as part of the pre-development planning, what do people like? What do they not like? What supports do they need, et cetera. So lots going on at Parkway Place. And then I think that's the long and short of it. I'll just end by, I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the horrific incident that happened early this morning at Avenue Plaza. And I know that you all join me in sending all of our concern, all of our love, all of our support to the family of the victim. We are cooperating, of course, with LMPD. We had our social work team on site at Avenue today in case folks needed support. And that includes both staff and residents. We will continue to provide that support. We're working with partner agencies to see what kind of critical intervention supports we can offer to that staff. And we were joined today by the Office of Violence Prevention. So if you all know of anything else we should be doing or thinking about, we're certainly open to that. But for now, we are continuing to pay close attention to all the safety and security measures that we can and should be taking. And then we are working really hard to figure out how to bring additional supportive services to sites like Avenue, a place where we need a lot of help, a lot of support. Our residents need a lot of support with mental health issues and active addiction issues. So.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Let's give a moment of silence for this, please. For the young woman, for her family, for the staff, and for those who live at Avenue Place. Thank you all so very much. we're going to move further in our, well, we're done, you all. Let's move into our, executive session. This is a closed session. I'm gonna ask for a motion to move to our executive session. So moved. May I have a second? All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Aye, all right. Those who are here, we will not do any new business or anything in the executive session, but there are some items that we will need to discuss. I thank you all for being here in our meeting today and have